Happy Monday, 7th graders. I will tell you this is a very exciting day because this is the last text you will read for 7th grade English. You guys are so close to being 8th graders. I'm really proud of you. All right. So we want to talk about one thing today before we get into our article. So we're going to talk about repetition. You guys should know what repetition is. We talked about it when we talked about our poetic toolbox, and it's kind of self-explanatory. So basically, repetition is when words or phrases are repeated in a text. Authors would use repetition to draw attention to important ideas, show the author's point of view, maybe give a certain kind of tone to the poem, or to emphasize certain themes or topics. You can also do this to create a rhythm or to provide balance or structure to a poem. Lots of poems have this sort of rhythm to them, and you can use repetition to create that rhythm. The three things you want to ask yourself when you're trying to find out what the repetition means in a poem is, what is the topic of the poem? Does that repetition have anything to do with the topic? Maybe how does the author develop the theme? Is the repetition helping you develop the theme? And then what is the theme or message? Does that repetition make it more clear what the theme or message is? Okay, so we are going to read a poem called Abuelito Who. And if you guys know, this means grandpa or grandfather in Spanish. I'm sure you know that. The annotation task is, as you read, take notes on how the author uses repetition to emphasize how aging affects their grandfather. So you're trying to figure out how aging affects their grandfather and why they use repetition to show that. So I'm going to head over to Common Lit. Okay. So it says, Sandra Cisneros is an American writer and key figure in Chicano literature. Her writing frequently draws on her experiences as the only daughter in a family of 6 brothers, and her family's constant migration between Mexico and the United States. Cisneros is best known for writing the best-selling novel, The House on Mango Street. In this poem, the speaker describes their aging grandfather. As you read, take notes on how the author uses repetition to emphasize how aging affects their grandfather. So we're trying to figure out how aging affects their grandfather, and we want to look specifically at repetition. All right. It says, Abuelito, who throws coins like rains and asks who loves him, who is dough and feathers, who is watch and glass of water, whose hair is made of fur, is too sad to come downstairs today, who tells me in Spanish, you are my diamond, who tells me in English, you are my sky, whose little eyes are string, can't come out to play, sleeps in his little room all night and day, who used to laugh and like the letter K, is sick, is a doorknob tied to a sour stick, is tired, shut the door, doesn't live here anymore, is hiding underneath the bed, who talks to me inside my head, is blankets and spoons and big brown shoes, who snores up and down, or down and up and down again, is the rain on the room that falls like coins, asking who loves him who. So we're trying to figure out, how does this poem use repetition to emphasize how aging affects the grandfather? So I'm just going to go through a couple lines with you so you know what to look for. So it says, Abuelito, who throws coins like rains and asks who loves him, who is dough and feathers, who is watch and glass of water, whose hair is made of fur, is too sad to come downstairs today, who tells me in Spanish, you are my diamond, who tells me in English, you are my sky, whose little eyes are strained, can't come out to play. So I'm going to stop there. I already noticed how many times it says the word who. It says, who throws coins like rain, who asks who loves him, who is dough and feathers, who is watch and glass of water, whose hair, who tells me. There's so many who's here. Who tells me again, whose little eyes. So lots of whose things here. So why would we want this repetition? We don't really know yet. We're focusing just on where we can find repetition here. So it's saying all these things like who is this, who is this, who is this. So this whole section is telling me like who the grandfather is. And then it kind of tells me like, can't come out to play, sleeps in his room all night, is sick, blah, 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 all of this stuff where it says is. this is showing me like what the grandfather is doing. So they use who over and over again to show like who he is, but they use is over and over again to show what he is doing. Now, this is probably the part we want to focus on mostly is what he's doing, because they're talking about why he's aging. But I think that there's some things here. So it says, is too sad to come downstairs today. That's another part that talks about him aging. So I'd highlight that. Who tells me in Spanish, you are my diamond, tells me in English, you are my sky, whose eyes are like string. Our little eyes are string. If I think of like what string looks like, or if you like attach string to your eyes, I would think it would like kind of droop down. So that shows me the aging of his eyes. His eyes, they're drooping down, he's getting older. It says he can't come out to play, so he's no longer coming out to play. He's sleeping in his room all night and day. All things that happen when you get older. Good. Okay, so it's kind of where I'm going to stop here, but I just want to point out these different repetitions that are here, and then these repetitions is. And you want to figure out like what are they trying to say about how this person is being affected by how they're aging. Okay. Last thing, two more things, assessment question, CER for this question. So make sure you're writing a CER for the assessment question that is a short answer. So it says, how does the author use the figurative language of coins and rain in both the opening and closing lines of the poem, lines 1 and lines 20 through 21, to help develop the poem's meaning? You're going to have to write this with a claim, evidence, and reasoning. Make sure you have evidence from the text or I cannot give you a 4. And last thing, Google Classroom discussion. In the poem, the speaker's Abuelito is changing because he is getting older. How has age affected someone close to you? How did it change your relationship? I want you to answer this and respond to one classmate. You don't need evidence because it's just about something from your own life. So just answer this, respond to one classmate, and I look forward to hearing about it. All right, have a good rest of your day. Let me know if you have any questions. Come to office hours and we can help you through this poem together and answer the assessment questions together. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.